Hello everyone, and whoa, we got a juicy piece of information today. And well, with that awesome information, I'm also planning on announcing that we have a giveaway in store. I was thinking the other day, it's been quite some time since I have had a giveaway, and it is something I've been wanting to do again soon to say thank you to the community. And I was originally planning just to do, say, a couple of £10 Steam gift cards on the 29th. Then I found out today Beastmen are coming out on the 28th, which is 2 weeks today. And I was over the moon. So I thought to myself, right, great. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have this video talking about it being a giveaway. So we're gonna give away on the 28th one copy of this DLC free in this video. Well, through this video. What do you have to do to enter? Well, what with all my giveaways, what do you have to do? You have to be a subscriber, because it is a thank you to my subscribers, to my community, to that sort of stuff. And I don't want to penalise people just finding me, so they can enter as well. But you have to be a subscriber. And I realise that that will get people to subscribe just to enter, then they'll disappear again. But oh well, there's nothing I can do about that. Is there? Other thing you need to do is leave a comment in this video to say you're interested in the giveaway. Just sort of like, woo, thanks for the chance, or yeah, thank you, or yeah, I want to win. Just anything in the comments. Just make sure your comment mentions that you would like to win. After that, you don't need to do nothing. Some point on the 28th, I will announce the winner, probably in a separate video, and then I will contact you via YouTube. And I will need you to get in contact with me, because you don't want to know the number of... I don't want to then take this code and send it to someone that is never going to be able to get on their account again, or something like that, which has happened in the past in my giveaways. So I need you to confirm that you're still alive, you're still there, and reply to me if you win. And then when you reply to me, I'll gladly send you the code. If no one replies, normally in about 48 hours, I'll normally re-give away the code, or choose a runner-up, or do something else with it. But I think 48 hours is a relatively safe amount of time, because it gives you plenty of time to go, oh crap, that competition, did I win? Or something like that. But it doesn't take up so much time that I can't move on, you know what I mean? Start thinking about new horizons, that sort of thing. But that's not all. We're going to be having a second code to give away. So there's not going to be one, but there's going to be 2 codes given away. And to be in with a chance of winning the second code, we are going to be streaming me and Raven that night. I'm going to be playing the game. She is going to be handling a giveaway. Just like our launch event I'd held, and the stream that I had on launch day for the Total War Warhammer, I'm going to be having a stream for the launch of the Beastmen on that night. It's one of my streaming normal nights anyway, so it's a win-win for me. And we're going to be having a giveaway in that stream, probably an hour or so into it. Raven will be handling it. It'll be just like the last one. And so yeah, awesome stuff. So there's not going to be 1 copy of Beastmen given away by me. There's going to be 2. Now what is actually in this DLC? I'll probably leave an annotation for those that just don't care about the giveaway, just want the information to this point if I remember, but I know I often forget. This is so much more than just a new race to play as in the game. I've got the store page, which is the main source of information at this point in time. In fact, it'll probably be the main source of information right up until the game is released. And I'm just going to go skim through it and talk about it as well as going through it. There will be a link in the annotation if you just want to go read it yourself. But let's start going through. It is called the Call of the Beastmen Campaign Pack. So it's not just a race, it's a campaign pack. It obviously has the new race, Beastmen, and adds them to the grand campaign. They have 2 legendary lords, and those 2 legendary lords are... I think one's Malagor. Where is it? I'll scroll down, just do this. Ah, yeah. Kazarak the One-Eye and Malagor the Dark Omen, but more on them later. It also adds a new short story campaign called An Eye for an Eye, which is what I will be streaming that night on Thursday. I'll be streaming this Eye for an Eye campaign, and it adds lots of new units, monsters, heroes, new magic. I think there's 2 new magic lures, and game features, and new dilemmas, that sort of stuff too. And even if you don't buy this DLC, I'm pretty sure your grand campaign will still feature beastmen, so you'll still be able to fight them. You'll still be able to face off against these new magics, these new units, sort of in the same way Chaos is in the base game for... yeah, even if you don't have the Chaos DLC. So it'll be very similar to that, but obviously you won't have this Eye for an Eye short story campaign. On to this Eye for an Eye. What is it? It is a small campaign, sort of zoomed in, like older Total Wars had Hannibal at the Gates, Caesar in Gaul. It's that sort of thing going on here. It's a smaller map, it's zoomed in, more detail, and focusing on a much smaller area faction wise. An actual event in time, an actual part of the lure. It's hard to describe, but the historical one, you'd just say a war. But I suppose you can say that lure-wise as well, actually, now that I think about it. It focuses in and zooms on just one war, and that's the main focus of the whole campaign. And this war is the war between the Beastmen and the Empire, where Kazarak, the One-Eye, wants to get revenge for losing that one eye to his nemesis Boris Trodbringer, and I was just making sure it was Middenheim. So it's mainly a Middenheim versus Beastmen zoomed in campaign. Seems to be the main sort of focus on it. There is a small sort of picture of a zoomed in map that looks really like it's just a cut off of the larger map, so it's not the actual map, I don't think, at this point. And you can see they're aiming to have Reichland and some of the forests and all that in, which is really nice. And I really like these shorter campaigns, small campaigns, because the main problem I'm having with with Total Wars now is late game. Did have a few things that annoyed me more in Total Wars pre-Warhammer, but Warhammer has pretty much smoothed them over. I no longer worry about them kind of things, like the end turns taking 10 years. I no longer worry about stuff like that. And there was a few other minor gripes I had, but Warhammer's managed to pave over them. But there is still one gripe I have with gameplay when it comes to Total Wars, and that is late game. I love early games in Total Wars. If I'm just playing myself, I'm not doing a let's play, I find it very hard to finish campaigns. I get about mid to late tier wise, so you're just unlocking your best units and that sort of stuff. You're still needing to get the upgrades for them, like the bonuses to their stats and all that through the research tree, that sort of thing, but you've just got your best tier units, and that's normally when I start getting just sort of fed up and bored, because it's normally around that point in the game where you're sort of becoming untouchable. There's no more strategy sort of gameplay involved, and it just sort of becomes steamroll. So yeah, that's the point of the game where I get sort of bored. And so when I'm playing on my own, I'll normally get to near the end of a campaign and just go, nah, I'm going to start a new one. I'm going to start a new one. And then I'll start a new one. But these short campaigns, that is why I love them. Because they're so zoomed in, and you don't really get that as much, because by the time it's about to start getting boring, you normally win them. Which is why I quite like these short campaigns. And other thing I love about these short campaigns is variety. You play like 5 games of the grand campaign, and you're just sort of looking at the race selection. You're just like, don't. Oh, all of a sudden my throat got really dry there. Don't you just wish that I'd change things up a bit? Oh wait, I can. Let's play one of the shorter, more zoomed in campaigns. And then you play another couple of them, and then you're like, oh, grand campaign feels new again. So that's why I love them so much. That is awesome stuff. But moving on now to the actual gameplay of the beastmen race. The beastmen are going to be a horde, and they're apparently going to be a very aggressive horde sort of style. Obviously, like Chaos, carrying their infrastructure around, and they go into encampments when they want to build on their infrastructure, etc, etc. But there is some major differences. Beastmen have some unique stances and abilities. I can't remember. There it is. Resilience is the name of this passive ability, which makes them immune to the attrition of 2 hordes being close together on the map. So, unlike Chaos, who all the hordes want to work on their own and strike off and do their own thing sort of thing, and it's hard for them to support each other because they're going to start suffering losses, Beastmen are the opposite. They want their hordes to work together in unison. They want to have the numerical superiority. They want to stay close together, help each other basically. Just very friendly compared to Chaos, but they are Chaos. But I'm just trying to think of a better way to word it all. And they have another thing that separates them quite well is the fact that they focus a lot more on hit and run and ambush sort of style tactics, and this is reflected in some of their stances. They get an ambush stance where the army is able to melt away into the background, and it's very hard for your opponents to be able to see them, and it's easy for you to spring ambushes on your opponents with the Beastmen. The other thing that is very unique really about them is their encampment stance. They don't get the basic encampment stance, they get a different one. I can't remember if I scroll down and take a look. They call it hidden encampment. Okay, nothing fancy about that. It's just hidden encampment stance, and it's basically the same as their ambush, except they're hidden. And it is very hard to find the army. You'll need a general that's skilled in that sort of area, leading an army in that area to be able to spot them. So it's a good way for the Beastmen to hide, build up their infrastructure, and wait for the enemy to be unsuspecting for them able to go out and pillage a wee bit of their lands, of the Empire or something, when they least expect it. So it's going to be a very unique sort of playstyle. Instead of like the chaos sort of horde styles, sort of like, I'm here bitches, time to die, it's more sort of going to be subtle. It's more going to be like, now I'm here, now I'm not. Oh crap, where'd they go? The AI runs off somewhere else. Then you're like, ha! I'm attacking and pillaging these lands now. And the AI's like, oh crap. But yeah, very, very unique. And those abilities, even though I don't play V's multiplayer campaign that much, I don't really like it. I prefer co-op because I like to build something together, you know what I mean? I like to strive towards something. I like that sort of cooperative sort of side of it. So I don't really like versus campaigns, but I can see that being a really big pain in the backside, because you're like, I know they're there, but I can't see them, I can't attack them. And I'm pretty sure people will be able to use that pretty effectively. And then it goes on to say beastmen get raiding stances just like most of the others. But one new thing they do have, which sounds a lot like orc fightiness, is called bestial rage. This bestial rage does spawn. Let's reread it together, because I'm not 100% sure what they mean by this. If it is just a unique stack following you around like the orcs, because when I first read it, it sounded like it meant on the actual battle map, all of a sudden more beastmen would appear and help you. But then when I reread it, it sounded like it was more like the WA army for the orcs. So let's reread it quickly. Bestial rage. Each army led by a beastman lord has a bestial rage meter. Sounds like the orcs. As the army raids or engages in battle, this meter rises until a new grey herd is summoned. Sounds like the orcs. An AI-controlled beastman horde that can be directed by the player to specific targets or to support the parent army as it moves. Sounds like the orcs. If any army's bestial rage falls too low, it may begin infighting, leading to loss of troops and, in worst case, mutiny. Sounds like the orcs. So yeah, I think I just misread it the first time, thinking that it was on the battle map, but it does sound like it's pretty much just like a the WA fightiness system. So this faction seems to be not as unique as the other four, but it's unique in the sense that it is combining the uniqueness of the others to create something new. It's sort of like they're half orcs, half chaos, which is the way I would describe them in the lore, so I'm loving that fact. And even though at first glance you can say, well, they're just sort of half orc, half chaos, they're not hugely unique. When you think about actually playing them on the campaign map, that offers a whole new playstyle. That offers... the uniqueness is still there. It's just, it's not been as hard for CA to implement due to the fact that a lot of the systems they're using have already been there. And so I think this is sort of like the best of all worlds, even though at first it may not seem like they're that unique due to the bestial rage being already an orc fightiness thing. Oh, my mouth is suddenly incredibly dry. Right, unique post-battle options. Beastmen also get 2 unique post-battle options. One is raise and loot, and the other is raise and defile. Now raise and loot is pretty much what you expect. It's you're doing the raise option and the sack option as one. Pretty simple, isn't it? Pretty good as well, because I know as Chaos I used to basically do that over 2 turns. Now they can do it in 1, which is awesome. But there is a drawback. If you raise and loot, you can't raise and defile. So, what is raise and defile? Raise and defile is basically the raise option for generic chaos, where they raise it and they create that sort of altar of chaos, drastically increasing the chaos corruption. So you can see now that they've got a dilemma here that general chaos don't have, because when I was doing my chaos campaign, I'd always, as less money was skyrocketing, which eventually it did, and I was just laughing trollololol because I was loaded. But at the beginning, anyway, at least, first turn I'd always sack or whatever the equivalent is for chaos, and then the next turn I'd raise to create that wee portal, the chaos corruption being up, and to work towards destroying the world. What else? I'm chaos. But as beastmen, you're not going to be as easy a choice, because you're going to be choosing between the two. There'll actually be differences. You could be like, well, I've got plenty of money right now, I'm going to create the defile option, I'm going to use the defile option. Or I'm a wee bit skint right now, I'm going to have to harvest it, and the chaos corruption in the area is going to have to suffer. So there is going to be a wee bit of, oh, I can't do both with the beastmen. What else does this thing tell us? Oh yes, the dark moon rises. You know when you've been playing Total War Warhammer, and as the race you're playing, suddenly you get a dilemma. It's like, oh crap, the moon has risen. Monslib or Monslib, or however it's pronounced. I have no idea. I used to pronounce it all the time and people were saying it was wrong, so I'm not going to try and pronounce it properly, even though I just did. When that moon rose, you'd either have to suffer some penalties, or you spent some money to improve omens and stuff like that. Well, for the beastmen, it's going to be the opposite. When that moon rises, you're going to be... Oh, there, it's right there. I can read some of it. Yeah, you're going to get drunken, you're going to be mad, you're going to get buffs, your men are going to go nuts, ballistic, they're going to be more powerful. It's going to be the exact opposite for you. When everyone else is going, oh crap, the moon has risen, you're going to be, oh yes, the moon's risen, but you're too drunk and too battle fury to care, and you're on your charging through, you're rah! Like the beastman version of a wah, basically, when that moon rises. Now let's talk a wee bit about their legendary lords. Now, I'm not huge on beastmen lore, and that's partly because beastmen aren't often spoken of in the lore, apart from as a generic sort of bad guy, sort of to speak, sort of like the guy that's getting beaten up in the stories, because they're often just the little whipping boy that are getting fought in the beginning of the stories before they get to the real enemies. Well, at least in a lot of the books I've read. So I don't know a lot about these guys. Kazarak the One-Eye, which is the guy we talked about earlier, he is the race leader, I think, at least at this point. And he obviously lost one eye in the war with Middenheim to Boris Todbringer. And he's your sort of combat heavy, physical, sort of wanting to kill type of lord. He has some special quests of his own, blah de blah de blah, gets some more sort of fighty sort of buffs to your army, income bonuses to raiding and leadership versus humans. Yeah, so he's sort of like your more fighty lord. Then you get Malagor the Dark Omen, which I think he's the guy I'm going to be choosing just for the fact that he's got wings. And I just love that. Unless, I don't think... Nah, beastmen don't really get mounts, so Kazarak the One-Eye won't be getting any nice mounts. But Malagor, he is the mage. He is their spellcaster, powerful type guy. Gets some nice debuffs for the enemies. Gets a nice buff for your spellcasters you can have. character's movement range. He's more your more sort of subtle mage, legendary lord, even though beastmen aren't subtle. But you know what I mean, he's not so much in your face with his abilities. I mean, his abilities are more subtle, not him. But it doesn't tell us what the basic lords are, which is what I was interested in seeing here as well, because it goes then straight on to heroes. So, are we just getting a generic beastman lord is the only lord we can get? Sort of like Empire? There's no sort of wizard leaders? Or is it going to be like orcs and goblins, where they can have a Bray Shaman lord as well? Or, the one I was really interested to see if was there, a Doombull. But it doesn't tell us. It just says legendary lords and goes on to heroes. So I'm actually quite interested to see that when more information comes out or the game is released. But let's talk about heroes. They do get a Gorbull, which is your hero level Minotaur, which I'm guessing is going to be devastating on the tabletop. In the game. Because we've had heroes and we've seen how powerful they can be in melee, and we've got monstrous infantry and we've seen how devastating they can be on the, I was going to say tabletop again in the game. Now this guy's both, so I'm really interested to see that. Probably works similar to how Sun Eater works, except he's even bigger, if you get what I mean. You'll sort of be halfway between a generic combat lord and Sun Eater, with being monstrous infantry instead of either monstrous creature or infantry. Then you get your Bray Shaman, which is just your spellcaster hero, using the Lure of Death, the Lure of Beasts, or the Lure of Wilds. So the Lure of Beasts and the Lure of the Wilds are the two new spells, lures of magic, going to be in game. What units? We'll go into the units, and then I'm guessing that's it. We're going to wrap it up because this video is way longer than I already intended it to be. The tier 1 units they get is Ungor Raiders, which is just very basic, cheap missile infantry with a bow, some nice abilities. Then Ungor Spearmen, just basic spear Ungors. Then Chaos Warhounds, exact copy of the Chaos Warhounds. Tier 2, Ungor Herd. Basically just Ungors again, except this time they've got an axe and a shield. Then Ungor Spearman Herd with shields. So basically the tier 1 unit with a spear, except they've now got a shield. Then you get a clone copy of the Chaos unit again, Chaos Warhounds with poison. Moving on to tier 3, they get Centaurs, which I was surprised to see them described as monstrous cavalry, because they were basically half horse, half man. I wouldn't have described them as monstrous cavalry in the tabletop, but I can see where they're coming from. They're sort of halfway. I would say monstrous cavalry to me is something like Demigryph. These guys are more just cavalry to me. But who knows, I can understand them being sort of, they're sort of in the middle ground there. Then you get a Gore Herd. Gores are just bigger Ungors, so you're getting your Gore Herd with shield. Then you're getting Razor Gores, which are monstrous melee beasts. And then you're also getting Minotaurs, which are monstrous infantry, heavily armoured, bloodthirsty, mad monstrous infantry. Very powerful unit. Tier 4, you're getting your Bestigors, which is your, I wouldn't quite say Black Orc level, but they're your sort of elite Gors. And then they've got Chaos Spawns, and they've got Centaurs with thrown axes, which, again, they're monstrous cavalry, but they're missile. So, yeah. That sounds weird. But okay, we'll see what that works, how that works. Then you get the Razor Gore Chariot and Minotaurs with shields. Yes, that unit gets even more powerful. Then onto their tier 5 units. Centaurs with great weapons, monstrous melee cav with great weapons. Very nice. Minotaurs with great weapons. So without they're stronger than the shields, but I'd say they're more different sort of styles. Minotaurs with great weapons are going to delete monsters I'm seeing in the game like Arachnarok spiders, because great weapons have already got very good AP. Monstrous infantry are already very strong. That's a match made in heaven. I can see those being monstrously good at destroying other monstrous infantry and monsters like the Ragnarok giants, that sort of stuff. Whereas the ones with the shields, I see them being a bulwark that's almost impossible just to break through. Then they get their Cygor, which is described as monstrous artillery, special ranged weapon, blah de blah de blah. And you get your basic Chaos Giant, just a carbon copy of the normal Chaos Giant. And that is all their units. And now this video that was meant to be about 10 minutes is half an hour long. So I hope you have all enjoyed it. Hope you are all looking forward to the giveaways. Remember, 2 chances to win a copy of this DLC. 1 for liking, or not liking, for being a subscriber and leaving a comment in this video. The other for tuning into the live stream and being there for the giveaway there. Hope yous have all enjoyed this. See yous all next time. Bye bye.